Okay, I'm going to do a quick survey. I'm going to try not to pick at my hands today. My hands are pretty messed up. They were looking good yesterday. I think I made a video day before yesterday. I picked down pretty good. They bled. A couple of them bled. But by yesterday they were looking pretty good. But then immediately the cuticle starts to dry up. The dead skin, the next layer, and it starts to irritate you. So I picked at it relentlessly last night, and so they're pretty tender, sensitive today again. So, but this is where we're at. We're doing actually good. That's a nice little bump there on front. That's all what's left of the old top cover nail. That's new material that's trying to push out underneath it, but it's bulging up and back because the remnants of the old nail that semicircular around in front there behind the bumper, that stuff is still planted in the skin to a degree that this new nail material you can see is just bubbling up behind it. My thumbnail is a lot thinner though than it was. In times past, my thumbnails were really huge. If you go back and look at that 13-minute and 28 video, you'll see how big my nails were. They were really honking. So let's see. So that's just showing, that's just a bunch of dead skin on front. That's been picked out a lot. Oh, and the side wings, these side nails are scabbed on. It's still too wide. The nail is still a little bit paddle shaped, but it's much diminished over what it was. Let's see, you can see the white lumps under the skin. That's dead cell material that's trying to move down. And on some days, it's like, some days after I've picked out and it's just like stuff is moved off, the tips of my fingers will actually be baggy, and it's like a beanbag chair. I can push on that side and the dent won't fill back up. It won't immediately reflate. And I can punch on that side, and instead of coming back like that, the dent will just stay there. And I can come over here and push on this side, and it'll reflate over here, and it'll leave the dent over here. It's really weird. But that just shows you how things are changing all the time. It's changing day to day. And this is the backs of my fingers. My fingers are a lot thinner than they were, but you can still see the white, irregular shaped areas of white. That is all accumulated dead cell material under the skin. I have it on my other hand too, where I actually have some lumps that won't break up. That's why I have that roller. I'm going to actually try to have to start rolling them out, because those lumps actually itch. It took me a while to think about it, but this stuff is like not liquid or whatever. It's actually it's firmed up to a certain extent, and it's moving around under there. I'd wondered why. I mean, I knew the lumps were under there, but I didn't understand why my fingers itch the way they did. It's because it's an actual irritant. It's granular under there, and it's moving around, and it's making my fingers itch under the skin. That's why I rub my fingers, rub my hands together, and rub my fingers, and rub between my fingers, the webs of my fingers. It's because of all of this irritant. All of this irritating material that's buried up under my skin. And you can see that dead skin there is flaking on the back in front of the knuckle. That's all the time. My skin is dead on top and underneath the skin, both. And you can see the white there. That's accumulated dead cell material. To the extent that I'm keeping my nails broken loose, and new nail material is forming, this stuff is now emptying out from under my skin. So, and this, then, I picked that out yesterday. I pulled that was really good. You know, I grabbed it with the forceps and just gritted my teeth and pulled it. So it really yanked out a hunk there, and it was big. The other thing is on this, it looks like it's dropping some, but there's so much material that in a day or two, if I don't do anything, all the accumulated dead skin and cell material, it'll roll back up, and it will, like that, it will rebury. That's just because I think there's such a huge accumulation backlogged up under my skin. There's just so much of it that it keeps pushing down and recreating itself. The bumpers keep reflating and pushing back up, and the pressure is still there. I haven't. It's many, many, many years of accumulation. You can see the layers there. That's dead skin on the front. That's the bumper. It's all dead. That layer behind it is another layer of skin that was laid down before, and it runs right up under the nail. The nail is, even though these nails have deteriorated to this extent, they're still not on the nail bed. They're sitting on cuticle skin that was formed maybe when I was, 8, 9, 10 years old. So, and that's scrum. There, that brownish material is just coming out from under the skin up there. It's riding out loose, and it wants to fill up those holes, but it's so poorly formed and rubbery that it will wash off. You don't have to pick it off. It's not even it's not dry. It has an almost viscous consistency to it. The same with that. That you can see that piece, two different pieces. That's two layers there. The small chip on top, and then it's sitting on another chip, and then both of those are sitting on what looks like old nail that's buried in the very front of the finger, and then behind it, in a much smaller dimension, is a barrel-shaped that more closely conforms to what the nail bed is supposed to look like. It may still be too big also, or it may actually be nail bed and the stuff is trying to shed out on it, but it's blocked by all this other junk. So let's see what else I need. So, and you see, I picked this out over and over and over, and the skin does seem to have dropped on the side. But like I said, there's such a huge accumulation, and everything you're looking at there on the front of my finger is all dead skin. It's all accumulated garbage. And it's all got to go away. So the pressure is such that it just rolls right back up, and it will try to bury the nail again. Just got to keep going. That's all newish nail material on that little finger. You see the texture of the nail looks a little better than some of the other stuff, but it's all just been put out over damage, and so it can't stay, and it's covering up that. You can see the circular shape of the cuticle now that the nail has broken back. This is still elongated. When all of that cruddy nail material is gone, it's collapsed back, you'll see that the cuticle is all one piece and it's round. And it's just been stretched to look elongated by these nails that are being forced out under pressure and stretching the cuticle out. When all of these crud nails are gone, the cuticle will collapse down in a circle over the nail bed, and it will stay like that until I remove enough of the dead skin that you are able to see the more or less rectangular shape of the nail bed from front to back. Right now it's just being encroached on to the extent that the cuticle is assumed a circular, it's like a rubber band. It just runs all the way around. And if you let it build up and up and up, that circle just gets tighter and tighter and tighter until it just completely swallows up the nail bed. But when half that little nail or more is gone, it'll look just like that, with the bumper completely exposed in front, and it'll be scaling off the way you see it doing anyway there. If you look at the older videos, you'll see where I've peeled layers and layers and layers of skin off the front of here, and they look pink and raw, you know, like that. But in a day or two, they turn white, and you can see that if you're paying attention, you can see that they're actually callous. They go right back to looking like what they are, just layers and layers and layers of dead skin. So, and to an extent, I guess all of these nails are still a little too wide. They're not as narrow as they should be. And when they're narrowed down, you'll be able to see that all of that skin on the sides of the nails is just built up. And you probably shouldn't have any really visible skin on the sides outside of your nails at all. The tips of your fingers are probably not supposed to be any wider than the fingernails and the nail bed. This is all signs of problems. So I pulled that out pretty good yesterday. You can see there on top the lines, the various lines of separate layers of skin that are breaking and running back, drying up and flaking off. And you can see that barrel shaped under there. It's a much smaller dimension than that big top nail. Once that top nail turns loose from the cuticle and moves out, it starts to break up. All of this stuff needs a little help getting gone, but that's what you need to be doing. You need to be getting it gone. This is pretty interesting here. That's that whitish at the back. That's new nail material that's bubbled up and coming out, but it can't push its way out. And you can see that opaque half crescent in front. That's a remnant of an old nail that's buried down in the skin, and it runs around all the way around there on the side. And where that's cracked, where that dent or hole is, there was a nail flake in there that was just literally like a nail that had been driven in by a hammer. And the new nail material on the left had come out around it. And this old whitish material there is made a side cover nail. It was probably just material that oozed out there and repaired the, covered over the nail bed where I had bitten the nail away when I was a kid. And it had all been covered over by new top nail material that then solidified and got a nice new glossy uniform coat on top of it. It looked like a real nail. If you go back and look at these old videos, you'll see that my nails did not look bad when I started this process. It's when those nice new and much too large nails came off, because the nails were so big that they covered all of that dead cuticle material, all of it. The cuticle at the back of the nail was stretched out very wide, and the nail came all the way out to here. It absolutely covered all of this stuff in the front and on the sides. And now that those big top nails are gone, you can start to see what's actually going on. But that opaque material on the side, that's just a side nail. And you can see this new material, the way it's coming out there. It was squeezing out around that nail flake. That nail flake was an obstruction that kept the, well, it forced whatever material was getting out was going around that like it was a rock there. And the nail material is plastic. It's like a pyroclastic flow. So it's like water flowing around a rock in a stream. It couldn't move it, so it went around it. But now this is going to flake off now, and you can see how dish-shaped that is. All of that nail material is sitting down in like a cup, a flexible cup of dead skin. This I still have problems with. I had this picked out. I did a video a couple of weeks ago or less, and you could see under that nail. But this is all rolled back up and filled up over it. You can't see it anymore, but it's dry. It'll pick out. But that's just what I mean. There's so much surplus material that even though I picked these out down halfway, all the way down to there, over and over and over, that they've just, the pressure of all of this surplus dead cell material and dead cuticle will push it right back up like that and rebury the nail. See how wide that is in the semicircular shape of the nail in front. That's old dead. That top nail is old dead nail. It's buried in the skin. And if it were to come off, I picked this out the other day, and you can see this line here, which was all the way out here. You know, it looked like it does on the left, and it went all the way around. As soon as this piece came out, this collapsed and folded up, right up to it, which has the effect of making it look like the nail is submerging in it again. And if I had picked it out all the way around here, this part wasn't ready to come off in front, but if I had picked it up, this would be rounded and uniform. And it will, you can, on the side you can see how it tilts up in front. It'll roll right back up like that, and the nail will look like it's down inside like that again in no time. It's just because of the pressure of this excess material. I picked that out pretty good. I had a lot of dead skin up under there, and you see now that this is separate. It'll pick off. It's a top nail, but the new material that's down there is a little bit narrower profile. It's still paddle shaped. It's still wrong, but you can see that even this right here is swelled up. It's bigger than that's back up under there. So each successive nail, even if it's a new top nail that's being pushed out right now, now that everything is diminishing, everything is going in reverse, even the new top nails are a little bit smaller than the old top nails that are eroding away. So we're actually making progress, so it's hard to believe. And you can see all this white stuff underneath my fingers. You can see all that dead skin on the backs of my hands. This is all of the result of bad nail maintenance, every bit of it. All of that dead cell material is backed up there because my fingernails were frozen in place and they weren't letting the dead cell material move out and off my body every day the way it was supposed to. I should have been breaking my cuticles loose from my fingernails every day, keeping them soft and flexible, and most importantly alive, not dead, not huge accumulations of dead skin, but one living cuticle that was continuous all the way around, flexible, and not stuck to the nail. It would allow the nail to move out, and a little bit of waste of the nail that had waste of the body that had been turned into fingernail would move out every day, and 2 or 3 times a week you take your nail clippers and you clip it off. That's what you're supposed to do. It's not supposed to get stobbed off like that and then have everything pile up behind it. But that's what you've allowed to happen if you've got problems like what you're seeing on my hands. And if the problems you've got are hidden under big, beautiful nails, you need to give up on those big, beautiful nails because they're not real. If they're not in contact with the nail bed, they're not real. If they're sitting up on top of piles of trash, they're not real. They're problematic. So, and you can see there the white on this finger. You can see that. That's an actual hard lump under there, and that's what I'm going to use that roller on to try to break it up. But all of these, this little finger is much thinner than it was, and the front of it got thinner, and the back stayed plump, stayed full. Now it's all starting to move out a little bit. I'm starting to actually get rid. But you can see it accumulates almost like blood settles in a dead body. Down on the side, there's a ridge of white. It's like the top. You can see red, but it's like it accumulates on the downside. But there are hard lumps there that you can't really see because they're not showing white. But they're hard lumps under the skin, and there's one right there. You can almost see it just because it's the shape of the finger is a little different there. But even the red, that red spot there, there's like a hard, it's not like a water blister, it's hard. And I think it's just this dead cell material has been accumulated underneath my skin for so long that it's actually congealed and formed a mass. And you can see that is the same. And that's all dead skin flaking off there on the backs of my hands. It looks a lot worse after I take a shower. And I think all of this is dead cell stuff, all of this white mottled lumps and stuff underneath there. And now, let me see, we can do this. And let's see, let's go back here. This is the guy I saw on the bus. Now this is grossly distended, but this is where his nail has flattened out and it's come out to the side. This is not much worse than paddle shape like my nails were. This guy's actually got some kind of wing extension over here. I got a picture from the side over here, and there's a round collar of callus around this side piece here. Come on now. What are you doing? I never had that happen before. But you can see that's a side. This is all stuffed full of dead cell material up here, and it's forced out. So look how I stretched the cuticle out like that. That's so sad. And it's not that nail is not attached to anything. That's why it's all white like that. And so the skin is all the way up under there, and what is actually like a little ellipse, and it's a very tight. I'm losing. Can't point my camera in the right direction. But it's a very tight little ellipse like that. It makes like a slit, and all of that nail material is being stuffed out through that tiny little slit. And you can see the red impaction there, how unhappy his hand is. And this guy, he was rubbing his hands constantly and rubbing the backs, taking his fingers and rubbing the back of his finger like that. It's really bad, really unhappy, unfortunate. What the hell is that? What is that? So, let's see, let's look at this next one. This is a guy that put up a video on the internet of, you know, he's a warrior, you know, a knife and martial arts guy. So he's showing you how to use brass knucks there. But he's also showing you what terrible shape his fingers are in. This is what I'm talking about. The skin turns dead white. You can't see really any color in it. And he's trying to keep them cut. But you can see if his nails were just gone, this would all just be round. The cuticle line would be round, and the skin is just is just encroaching on his nail bed from every which way. That's just super impaction there. If he lets the skin overlap, because he keeps his nails so short, some people let their nails stick out over this flubber, and they're trying to pretend to themselves that they've still got nails. This guy's keeping his nails trimmed back. He runs the risk of having the skin overlap his fingernail in front, and then it could trap the nail, and it would be a complete circle of skin all the way around, like these girls you see that have got the little chip of a nail on their toe, and their little toenails are got the skin all the way around. No dead cell material is making it off of their bodies, and their feet and their toes will just continue to swell up and up and up until they pop, literally, until they erupt. But he doesn't realize he's got a problem, but you can see that this is dead cuticle skin. You can see there, right? That's what I'm talking about. That little piece of dry skin all the way around. That shows that it's dead cuticle, and it's locked down the nail. And the fact that it's radius, a spade shape like that, This is just where the skin is building up and up and up, and it's overlapped the back of the nail. And his actual nail bed, of course, is way back here. His fingers actually look like toes that are starting to swell up. So we got there. That's a close-up. See, that's his nail. You can see that if that nail were gone, this is just a round. You know, the nail is pushing out here, the cuticle, and it's giving it the shape. But actually, if you took the nail out, the cuticle would just be a round circle, like a tiny little washer or a rubber band. And down there, there might actually be a little bit of actual access to the nail bed, but there's probably just a lot of crud built up on top of it. It's all waste, it's all bottled up, and you can see right there how the skin is coming up over the nail in front. So it actually looks like the nail is inset into the skin there. It's up even with the nail in front. This is just dead cuticle skin here. And again, his actual shape of dimension of his nail is supposed to be, you know, here and way back here. And all of this is flubber. So, but it's rolled up and over his nail bed in front, so his nail bed may be way out here in front. But if his nail were right, it would go from out here to back here, and from over here, wherever. And none of this. This is way too much material on the side of his finger. This is a guy I saw on the bus. He was just sitting there with his hand on his blue jeans. And all of his fingers look like this. And they're all dead white. You can't see any blood. You really, except for right there, you just looks a little red. But there's so much impaction and dead cell material under his skin. His fingers have swollen up to the point that he actually looks as white as a corpse. He looks like a dead man that's just been pulled out of the ocean. It's really sad. It's really, people don't see it, don't know what it is, haven't got a clue. Don't have a clue. But okay, this guy thinks he has beautiful nails. I saw this guy at a bus stop. He's just sitting there with his hands folded on his knee. But you see the shoulder? This is wrong. He may not have ever bit his fingernails, but his nails are frozen in place by this dead cuticle skin. And so what nail material is coming out is just coming out like an egg wash, and it's building up and up and up. But he may never have bit his nails. He may not have that kind of damage under there, but he's still got the buildup. And it shows here because he doesn't have the buildup of dead cuticle skin here because he's not biting away at his cuticle. So he's not making new cuticle all the time. That's why the cuticle isn't all the way up to there. But the nails have gotten stacked up and up and up, and that's why you've got that square shoulder on the side of his nail. The nail is stacking up and up and up, but he's not getting the accumulation of dead cuticle material on the side of it that covers it. Most people that have their nails stacked up like that have skin on the side up to there, and they shape it with a little wooden stick and make it pretty, and then they have this little thing out here, and this right here, this discoloration here on this edge shows that this is very irregular. It's not, the nail is not actually in contact with the nail bed. The reason it's not showing white is because it's actually under pressure, and the skin or whatever's under there is pushed up tight up against the nail. So anywhere that the nail is not in firm contact with the material underneath, it's going to show white. And that's why you see that it's white over here, right? That's because all of this is up in the air and this nail is not actually attached to the nail bed. Anytime you see white on the side of a nail that runs back, that's the tip off. If it's not just white here, it's white here in front because it's moving off of the nail bed if your nails are actually healthy. I live in a bad part of town, and there's constant police helicopters. 24/7. We got, sometimes they just go round and round and round my house, you know. All night long. They circle the house with their high beams on. So, uh-oh, it went off. See, that's, uh-oh. So let's see. But yeah, this whole nail is not attached to the nail bed. It's stacked up in the air, and it's frozen. It's frozen in place. It's not moving out properly. It's getting a little nail out there, and maybe he trims it off. But you can see it's old and discolored and a little grody looking. It's brownish, nicotinous. The color is a little wrong, and you can see the shade. He could actually, and you can see that's not attached to anything all the way back to there for sure. He could take actually and cut that nail off all the way back to there. And then you would see that round flubber, just like on my fingers. That's what he's got underneath that nail. This is what I had under my beautiful nails, and it's what he's got under his beautiful nails. This cuticle line actually runs right here, right across here and back. And all of this way too much skin on the side of his finger is the same amount that's on the front, is on the side, is on the back, is on the side. And it's really not quite accurate to talk in those terms because there is no sides and back and front. This is a circle under there, and this nail is overlaying all of it. This is a beautiful nail, and you can see the dead skin all the way around. That dead cuticle skin is locked down absolutely, and you see again the shoulder, the square 90-degree shoulder almost that's built up. That's nail after nail after nail that's piled up there. He is just not biting his nails, so he doesn't have stacks and stacks and stacks of dead cuticle also. It's just stretching, and this making this shape because this is stretched so tight here on the side. It's stretching the cuticle. And this plastic nail material is coming out and getting stretched like that. Good. Come on. So that's him. I've been meaning to do this a video, and this is pretty rough here. I'm sitting outside, but I wanted to show some examples. Finally, I think these may actually be my nails from long ago when they were much bigger, and they were showing less damage. Well, there's probably a picture I took off of my gallery on my laptop. I mean, on my desktop. But yeah, I have started digging the. Cuticle skin out from around the nail. This is what my nails looked like before, and you see, this is actually this back here, this dimension here. Just take that like you had a divider or something, and you keep that width and keep the outside edge right on the outside edge here, and draw that line right around inside there, right back over to here. That's where the actual cuticle line is under there, and then none of this is attached to anything. I could have, if I had realized what was going on, I could have cut my nail off back to there, and then it would look like that guy whose nails were being embalmed. One of the very first ones, those tiny little nails, the guy that had the brass knucks, right? I could have cut my nail all the way back to there, and this flubber would have just been pushing up in front the way it was on his. Same thing there. This is way too wide, the nail. That's my nail. And when it had the skin on the sides, you know, all the way up to here like that, I could take a little stick and push it and make it pretty, and it would have the same little, but you see that brown edge. You know, this shows you that things are just not right. It's just sitting on flubber. This is a whole big bumper of dead callus under here, and this nail is just sitting down hard on it, and the only reason it doesn't look white is because it's in contact with it under pressure. But you will see people that have got really wide white stripes on the fronts of their fingers. That's just because it's showing that it's not actually connected to anything. Why does it keep doing that? I'm not familiar with my camera yet, and that's what the deal is. So that came off of my gallery from like 1,000,000 years ago, and you can see how discolored that nail is, and these grooves are coming because of all of this semi-coagulated old cell material that is stashed up here underneath my skin. And this new plastic cell material, to the extent that it's getting out under pressure, it's being grooved by this stuff. And this, of course, is just a buildup of dead cuticle skin all the way around. Probably those pictures I looked at before was this nail before I dug this dead skin out and relieved it. But you can see that this bumper is like this wide, and that means that it's this wide under there too. You just imagine that nail being gone, and the cuticle is circular under there, and all of this underneath there is all dead skin. It's all built up. It's just built up this big, huge nail over this hole, just like this. Just imagine you just come in and glue. There's that like that, and just from the back all the way out to the sides, you cover all that skin with the glue-on nail. That's exactly what that is. Okay. That might as well be a glue-on nail. Okay, this is just so sad. This is that pedicure. That's just a tragically impacted nail, and you can see over here what I was talking about. That's white. Okay, that means that nail is not in contact with the nail bed. It's free floating. It's sitting on top of a bunch of garbage. It's nowhere near the nail bed, and all of this is impaction, and you get the spade shape because this buildup, it builds up at the back. It overwhelms the back first and clips the corner at the back of the nail. It's just trying to grab the nail and pull it down like quicksand. They call this, when you let the impaction get like this, call it an ingrown toenail. Actually, it's not an ingrown toenail, it's an overgrown cuticle. It's masses and masses and masses of skin, and none of this is real. You could cut all of this off in a circle, and then you would see that all of this, if there's that much buildup on the back of the nail bed, then there's that much buildup on the front and that much buildup on the sides. And that's what you're actually looking at. The nail should not be only a third of the dimension of the front of the finger or the toe. All of this is buildup, and all of this is buildup. All of this is dead skin, basically, even though it might bleed. It's still basically just built up dead cuticle skin that's impacting that nail. The same thing. You see how it's pressing up against the nail. That's the only thing that's making it look white right here. I mean, the only reason this looks like a nail is that the pressure is keeping this flubber pushed up against the nail. Otherwise, you would see that it's not actually in contact with the nail bed. This is a guy on the bus, and he's got the same problem on his feet that a lot of people have on their fingers. This is all built up on the sides. His nails are corroding, they're disintegrating, and this is all dead cuticle skin here. It's just the whole nail is frozen in place, and it's been frozen in place so long that it's disintegrating. Same there, tiny little chip of the nail. That's actually, you could cut it off right there. None of that is attached to anything, and this is where it's all squeezing out, a tiny little ellipse right there. His whole nail bed has nearly been eviscerated. He's got a little more nail on this toe, but it's, again, there's dead cuticle skin. There's cuticle skin underneath that nail all the way back up to there. Right under here. So only a tiny little bit, and that is up and stacked up on top of piles of garbage, so it's not attached to the nail bed either. But it's all being squeezed out through there. He could actually cut all of that off. Some people just have their nails removed. Some people know something's going on, but don't know what. Brandy, come back. Come back. Don't go wandering off. This poor girl. You see, this is she looks like she's got a nail here, right? But it's not a nail. Okay. It's as in bad a shape as all of these. It's just that the pressure of the material underneath is pushing up tight enough that you don't see that this nail is not actually in contact with the nail bed. It's perfectly obvious on these, though, isn't it? So these nails are not attached to the nail bed. They're detached. And they're not detached because they've been damaged or torn loose. It's because they're sitting up on piles and piles and piles of garbage. They're nowhere near the nail bed. Okay? And when you see these white wavy extensions in front like that, again, you just imagine that nail isn't there. She could cut all that off, and then you would see that this is just a round flubber, just like that. But it's covered over with this damaged nail. These nails are glued down. They're not going anywhere. They're misshapen. And the reason they look white is because they're not in contact with anything. They're free-floating. This is not the right shape of the nail at the back. Her nail bed is all the way back here somewhere. And this is all rolled up over her nail bed in front. So her nail bed is actually out here somewhere, but it's under tons and tons and tons of garbage, and the nail is nowhere near it. Those are my nails from a long time ago when I started to shed off. And this is when the crud was first starting to come out. And it shows you, we've been here over and over and over again. And this nail material, this flubber just keeps rolling back up and over it. These are old, much larger cover nails that have now disintegrated and gone away. But I still have a huge amount of surplus material that's coming up and over. This is my little fingernail. That one. That very one. Only this is when the first cover nail first started to split in half. And the top, and this is a half of it, and that's a half of it. They both came off, and it revealed all of the softer material under there, which you may have a picture of it on here, and maybe not. But as soon as this harder top nail split, disintegrated, and came off, it revealed all this much softer trash underneath that immediately started to just fall apart. It just looked like a pile of trash under there. And it had this round cuticle. It's like a wastebasket, and all of this wildly disintegrating stuff inside of it. It just really basically washed off. It was a rubbery, soft, keratin-ish type crud. Some of it was rubbery and just came right off. It was pretty viscous. And some of it was more like this crumbly kind of nail, like I said, if you get inside of a rhino horn, it's got a hard shell on the outside, but then the inside is crumbly stuff. So when this top nail came off, then the stuff underneath just broke up in a really crazy kind of way. And then it started trying to make new nails and put like this. This is much newer material, but it's still sitting up on top of a bumper of dead skin. We haven't gotten all the dead skin off yet, so that nail can't stay. and you see that it's a smaller dimension at the back. That top nail is already, it's moving out. And you can see that it's this dimension at the back underneath is smaller. But that's that same nail, that one. And this nail looked a lot better last week before I started digging at it and picking at it and I'm trying to get the side wings off. Right? It's still too wide. And you can see the white there on the side. That white is like a side nail that's too wide. It's going to scale off too, and then that's where that little hemispherical shape is at the back. That's different also. That's for a little further down. So that you're looking at 3 different layers there. There's a second nail on top of that at the back. It's like a skim coat that's harder. And then this is a little thicker material that's applied on the side there. You can see the wing there. It's a bivalved. Uh-oh. Okay, that's the same nail. Okay, and that's when that first top nail started to break up. All of this came out. All of this dead cuticle material came out, relieved it, and then it started to split. And then this nail that was underneath it, it started to split right down the middle. And this half came off, and this half came off, and then this softer material underneath started to break up, and then you could see that this was just round here. All of this is flubber, and if there's that much depth of buildup on the back of the nail bed, there's that much on the front, there's that much on each side. Greatly diminished. Pretty much the same thing, self-explanatory. That's the same nail, guys. It's the same finger. And this wasn't that long ago, 2 months ago maybe. I did this a long time ago and I marked it up. That's just to show that white. See, this is where this is evacuated. It was all full of dead cell material like this, and the whole finger was fat and dead white. And the sides of my fingers were dead straight. There was no wasting in. The knuckle wasn't wider. And I've seen people where the knuckle is actually the thinnest part of their finger, and they're so puffed up that they balloon out here. But much more often you'll see that when they're over full, they'll be dead straight on the side. They won't waste in. They won't be concave between the knuckles at all. And this, you can see where this has started to get flabby here, because this is evacuated a lot. These are already starting to break up and move out. It's allowing this accumulated dead cell material under here, this white accumulation, it's allowing it to come out and form a new nail. And it's just leaving a baggy, empty sausage skin there that's losing its shape. And there you can start to see red. I can start to see the blood vessels or the actual living tissue under all of this accumulation of dead cell and crud. And you can see how lumpy that is. I have a picture on the, I have a little video I did of a guy sitting in a wheelchair on the bus in the sunlight, and part of what I want you to be able to see is that even though his fingers look puffy and very full, that when you look at them in the right light, from the right direction, you can see that they're actually lumpy, just like this. And it's because of the irregular quality of the stuff that's just stuffed up underneath there. You look at a sausage, they're not actually uniform. They have bumps and lumps in them because it's not uniformly stuffed into the skin. But that's exactly the same thing that's going on here. Okay, that's really ugly, isn't it? See, and that's that same little finger, right? This hadn't been that long ago. this is the crud. Once that top nail broke up and got off, which is like a skim coat, it's very hard. It's harder, and underneath it is this really much softer junk. And then when you see this is when you really freak out and go, "Oh no, I've got psoriasis of the nail." Call it what you will. So that was a while ago, and those nails look a lot better, but you can see that they're just sitting on top. You could take and cut them off, like I said, on that line back here, and then you would see that this is all just a big rubber bumper, a uniform dimension all the way around. And these nails might as well be glue-ons, might as well be appliques. So you can see that I've started to dig the, but you can see, look at that collar, the red around. All of this is dead cuticle material just built up in ring and ring and ring around. You can see the red collars on all of these. So this would cut back to here. And you would see that this is just, there's that much in the back and there's that much in the front. And this is even worse because it's rolled up over the nail bed. My nail bed's supposed to be out to here, but this flubber is just, is encroaching on the nail bed from every which way. Sorry, I can't look in 3 directions at once. I've only got 2 eyes. Let's see. And here you see, this is when, you know, this looks pretty good, but when it starts to move out and you see this, then you start to get a clue that this wasn't right to begin with. So if you imagine that line back there, that width, just follow it on around, and all of this is dead accumulated buildup, just like this is here. This nail is much too wide, and all of this buildup on the sides is probably not supposed to be there, so my finger should actually be much thinner, and the nail should be much narrower, and the finger should not be any wider than the nail, pretty much. You probably shouldn't have more than 1/16 of an inch of buildup on or skin on either side of the nail on the tip of your finger. Okay, that's that same nail again, right when it started to split, when the top nail started to split down the middle. And this side came off, and that side, this stayed a lot longer. It was stuck better. This came right on off, and then I got a really incredibly ugly mishmash of stuff underneath there. It's that same little finger. And I forget which one that was, but you can see what's going on there. You can see how this is built up over the nail bed here. This is all garbage, all dead skin, all of it. All of this flubber in front. It's just disastrous. But you could have a perfectly nice looking nail, just like that guy at the bus stop with his hands folded, with that beautiful nail with just that little crust of dead skin around, and you could have that over all of this, and the nail would be out to here, and you'd have a little white, and if it was mashed down against that, then it wouldn't show. It would look like a regular nail, and then right where it stuck out in front, you'd have a little white semicircle, and you could just keep trimming it out. But the material is actually, it's coming out because it's not trapped in front, but it's coming out much slower than it should be. And all of this, and a huge accumulation of dead cell material is jamming up. It's not getting off. All of it is supposed to come off. That's made every day. It's supposed to come out and off and come on out and get trimmed off, you know, regular. You know, it's not supposed to ever get jammed up back there and just start to accumulate. That's what you're letting happen. I still can't tell what finger that is. July 29th, 2023. It's been a while. So there you see the cuticle is You know, this nail is eroded away. And this is the cuticle, you know, and they're just built up in rings and rings and rings. That's every single finger we're looking at. Every single one where they've let the dead cuticle material build up. And down there somewhere is the nail bed, but it's actually overlapped by that far with dead skin, because it's lapped up and over and around. So the nail could be wider than what you're seeing and be right, but all of this dead skin would have to go, and the nail would have to be, the new nail would have to be in direct contact with this nail bed down there. So you see, this is still paddle shaped here. It's still too wide. That has to come off. The sides of the nail bed are parallel, and they're long. So I've still got buildup back here covering the nail bed, and this is rolled up over the nail bed in front. So my actual nail, if all of that crap came off, might be out to here, and out to there, and out to here, and back here. Longer and thinner, basically. And then where it comes off of the nail bed in front, not just off of a pile of flubber that it's in contact with that keeps it from looking white, but actually in contact with the nail bed, where it comes off the nail bed in front. That's the little semicircular piece of white nail that you're supposed to trim off every day. And see how grubby these fingers look. I thought it was because I was a carpenter. I didn't realize what, you know, I thought I just had grubby fingers. So here you see how that's dropped down and back. This is broken out, loose and moved out, and started to break up. And this is where it drops down and back. And this, which was built up very high, much higher than this, it actually, this level of the skin actually went from the knuckle up in the air. It was much higher up in the air. And now this, as these nails move out, which are big, and each successive nail is bigger and bigger and bigger to cover the damage underneath. Each new nail that gets made is incrementally larger. So now that we're going in reverse, these nails that are much too large are coming out, and when they break up and they become waste and they're disposed of, this cuticle is collapsing back down on a lower profile and back. This is somebody who has psoriasis of the nail, and you can see here clearly that this is actually they don't have enough room left. Their nail bed has been so severely encroached on. You can't, if you cut off where you could see this round blob of flubber in front, like on my fingers, right? It would be all the way back to here, and that's right, because they've got that much buildup in back, and they've got that much buildup in front. And so actually what this is none of this is in contact with the nail bed, but the nail material that's making it out is only making it out because this flubber hasn't come up and over the front and grabbed it the way it's grabbed it at the back corner. When this builds up to the point, or they trim this off and that off, and this skin builds up to the point where it captures this corner, comes around, you would just see a diminishing circle. It would be more and more skin and less nail until the nail just disappeared in the flesh. You see it all the time, and they don't know what it is. It's beyond belief, really, that they don't know, but they don't. And so this is being squeezed out. There's skin, there's flubber. This is dead skin under here all the way up to here. So all of this nail material is being squeezed out right here in a little tiny crescent, like it's being pushed out of a cookie dough, one of those machines you press out cookie dough with. You put it in and squeeze the handle like a caulking tube. And this, you can see, that's a layer of dead cuticle, and this nail is just frozen. It's just glued there in place. This is all white. This irregular white area in front is because it's not actually in contact with the nail bed, or or the material underneath it. If it was, if there was more nail and it was mashed down on whatever was underneath it, the trash that was underneath it, you might just have a little white crescent in front, and you could fool yourself that you got a nail. But this shows clearly that none of this is in contact with the nail bed or anything else. And all of this is bogus, and it could all be cut off right back to there. You can see, like I said, if it's that wide, just draw that line all the way around. Okay, and everything under there, everything under that nail that's in front of that line could just be cut off, and you would see then the flubber, the bumper on the front of the nail that you're not seeing because they're trying to fool themselves into thinking they've got nails, even though they're cruddy nails. And there is a nail that looked like my nail. Very bad. And they're letting this little piece of corroded nail stick out over this dead flubber in front. Okay. And that's the same as about the same deal as the guy at the bus stop. This is a dead cuticle. It's glued down. The nail looks pretty good, but again, if you've got this much buildup on the side, just draw that line around. So everything right there, from there forward, is just part of this bumper, this flubber bumper in front. And in actual fact, even though their nails look okay, so maybe they never bit their nails, but they've let them build up. They're building up because stuff is getting out somehow, in spite of the fact that these nails are glued down. The cuticles are glued to the nail. So you can have one or both problems. You can have one or the other or both. The same deal. Same deal. They look better than they are. Now that's a real mess, isn't it? They look a lot like my fingers after I've been working in the yard, but you can see they're glued down. This is all, you know, take that line and draw it right under there, and all of this is not attached to anything. That's why it's white. And none of this is attached to the nail bed, and that's why sometimes they're uniform, you know, so they'll if this nail were the same shape it is, and it was mashed down to whatever junk is under there, then it would all look like that. And you might think the nails were ugly and discolored, but you wouldn't necessarily think they weren't nails. These nails are not attached to anything, and they're pressed down against what's underneath there irregularly, and that's why this white runs in and out like that. It's just a matter of the pressure. It's not in contact with the nail bed, so if the nails weren't lying to you, they would all look white like that. I mean, the whole thing would look white like that because it's not, you know, it's not in contact with the nail bed. This is all just junk. It's sitting up there. Look at that. That's that much buildup on the side. Just draw that line on around, and there's that much flubber in front, and there's that much flubber over there, and this is that from there to there is as much as could possibly be attached to the nail bed, but it isn't. You know it isn't. It's built up on piles and piles and piles of trash. Same there. They don't have a clue what they're looking at. That's my nail again, right where it was starting to split. That's my little finger. That's when that nail, I finally got this relieved. I picked out enough dead cuticle skin. You see how the massive buildup back there. The skin is actually supposed to come down in one layer right to and lay right on the nail and back. It shouldn't be a seawall that's 1/8 of an inch high or more and back. So this is just stacks and stacks and stacks of crud under here, and once this split down here, then this and that came off, and you can just see the impaction. This is all of that, which this rolls up and over and back down in. So actually you could trim that off inside to that line and see that that is all just a big flubber bumper in front, just like that, right? But this would pick out, and it would be like a groove down around inside there. much smaller dimension. And then you see that the nail is actually just a piece of trash that's sitting right there. And it's not attached to anything. It's built way up in the air. Same deal. That's where the top nail has come off and the softer corrody stuff is underneath. And that's my same little nail, little fingernail. And that is the one that came off my desktop, the one we started with. And that's a much bigger nail than what I have now. Which one is that? Let's see. I think that's that one right there. It's that, probably that nail right there. And this, if you go back and look at that 13-minute and 28 second, you'll see that's a very spastic video because I was trying to float around and get some pictures off of my desktop when I didn't know how to do it. But it shows these two fingers, and the nails look reasonably good, and they're much bigger. That new little fingernail is much thinner than the old one. And that is that nail, more than likely. Okay, now this is the best picture I've got that shows. Look at that big honking now. These are my fingers, and you see how this is all dead skin up here. And all of this, that buildup there, that's an 1/8 of an inch high or more. None of that should be there. That huge collar of dead skin, a lot of that is gone now. Because I think that's that. You see that profile behind the nail is much lower. The collar is diminished greatly. Partly because it's fallen down as the bigger, older nails have moved off. It's collapsed down onto the barrel that mimics the shape of the nail bed, and it's still doing it again and again and again. There's another one under there. This top nail is coming off, and the profile of the next layer down is going to be a little thinner, and hopefully it'll be straighter on the sides. This is still paddle shaped. That's still, it runs out, and when the blubber builds up on the sides of the nail, and the nail material coming out starts to leak out to the side, it actually goes out and mimics the shape of the flubber underneath, and you get paddle-shaped nails that cover your paddle-shaped flubber. But the shape of the nails is wrong. They're supposed to be parallel on the sides. Right. So, but look at that. See, this has got the shoulder on the side, like that guy at the bus stop. It's built straight up. Look at that. That's a huge amount of buildup there at the back. But here's what you need to see, where it broke loose. See how gigantic this nail is? And it broke loose and it moved out. And now this nail in back is much smaller dimension. And this was curved down around like a talon, like a claw. And when nails overgrow like that, sometimes they will come out and they're under pressure, so they're mashed right down to this flubber, and as they grow out, they just adhere to it and they curl right on around. Somewhere I've got a picture of a nail that is wrapped all the way back around to here. It grows out and down and around like that. But that's not the nail bed. It's just mashed down to the dead skin on the front of the finger. It's hard for me to believe now. As far along as I am now, it's hard for me to believe I'm looking at a picture of my own finger. But that's what that is. And you see, this will come out. This was come out smaller, straighter, and it's not going to be as curved as that is, because this flubber is going away also. I'm chipping away at all of it. This has been quite a while ago now. Let's see. Does that go away? I must have moved that up from the gallery, and it took a new date. This is not that recent. This is certainly not from March 9th. But these are my fingers from maybe, this is probably a year ago. February 13th, 2023. That would be it. So that's when my nails first started, my old big overgrown top nails first started moving out. Take a good look at that because it's telling you a lot. And you see how this is cut in right here, cut into there. It would travel right out on that line, right? And this would all be mashed up in there. And if this was even semicircular, all it would be is the nail is deforming, cutting into the skin and deforming the shape. When this, if you were smart enough to realize what was going on, because this is very deceptive. If you had all this cut off, then you would see that this is just round. This is a piece of all dead skin. It's all flubber, and it's circular. But the nail, you're looking at the nail and taking the shape from the nail. The nail is actually bogus, and if it were gone, then you would see that it's actually round. You know, it's still, the front of that nail is still sticking out over the flubber, but if a 3/8 of an inch of it were gone and the sides were trimmed off, you would see that that's a circle under there. And again, this is just a huge amount of built-up junk that's miles and miles and miles away from the nail bed. That's just sticking out over, you just can't see the flubber because here it is over here, right? So follow that line around. Everything in front of that is just built up like that. Okay. Try to, you don't really see what you're looking at. You're looking at your nails every day and you're not seeing them. So these are my nails. That was a reasonably good looking nail back then. It's way too big. It sticks out way out over. This is what you think you've got fingernails. It's sticking out over all that flubber. I could have cut this nail off back to here. It's not attached to anything. And if I had, you would see it look just like that, It's just got a bunch of that's sticking out over it again, but like that. When you take it all off, you'll see it. All of these are ridiculously extended. This is just a big wad of flubber on the front of my finger, and all of this nail is just projected out over it. All of them are the same, and they're all way too wide. This is supposed to be way back here. That's just trimmed off way back there. And you could have a situation where the skin built up and up and up like that, and you'd shape it with your little stick, and you'd have the little white crescent in front. It would be sitting right on all this flubber. It would all be encased in skin, and you would think, if it wasn't inflamed or anything, and it wasn't showing irregular white, and it wasn't wavy and extended in front with a big wavy white band, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't be able to see it. So those are my fingernails again. How about that little fingernail? Didn't it look good? If it wasn't for the dead skin, giving it away, and the build up here, I finally figured it out, I finally figured out I had a problem. But this nail is just grown out over a big wad of flubber. It's not in connection, it's not connected to the nail bed or anything. It only looks like a nail because it's mashed down on all that dead skin, and it's not showing white in streaks, or it could be like that girl that had the white all the way back to there in the irregular wavy line. And then I go, what's up with that? Is my nail detaching from the nail bed? That's what it looks like when your nail detaches from the nail bed. But this nail is nowhere near my nail bed. It's built way up in the air. And this is just broken loose, and you can see that it's a lower profile and back underneath the skin where it's moved out. I think one of the first things I got a indication that I had a problem is that the nail moved out a little bit, and I saw a bruised, irregular area back here, and it looked cruddy. And I said, "What's up with that?" And it moved out a little more, and it would look like this. It started to drop down, and then I could see that this whole top nail was bogus, and it was just going to move off. That's been over a year ago. Same thing there. You see how ridiculously wide these are, and they're just covering up a big circle of flubber that's encroaching on the nail bed, each and every one of them. And this one is even spreading out wider in front. Spade shaped, I call it. December 19th, 2022. See, that's been a while ago now. So that's between the difference between then and now. These nails are a lot narrower, and they're continuing to shed irregular top nails, junk nails, and to shrink. And when all of those bogus top nails are gone, what I'm going to see is all of that remaining dead cuticle skin in a perfect circle that has encroached on the nail bed all the way around. And when all of that dead skin then is gone, the nail bed will be revealed as being much longer and shaped like a section of a cylinder. It'll be rounded at the front, it'll be more square at the back, and it'll be parallel on both sides. Nails will not be paddle shaped like that. They will not leak out over the dead skin on the side because there won't be any. And they won't be way too big. And you can see all of this is built up. I mean, all of that is just a huge amount of excess skin. My fingers are way too big. And it's a huge accumulation of dead cell material under the skin and dead cuticle material that's built up. And these are glue-on nails, basically, these artificial nails that are basically just stuck on a top of a pile of trash, obscuring this so you don't see that this is just a round mass of flubber, the dead cuticle skin. Each and every one of these nails, they're not elongated. The shapes of these nails have no relation at all to the shape of the nail bed underneath, and they're deceiving you by being long, elongated. You don't see that what's underneath there are actually Schmiegel fingers, where you have a tiny little circle in the middle that's full of trash, and then this huge buildup of dead skin and a circle all around it. Same deal. You see way too much white here on the front. The fingernails are theoretically the right length, but this is all just a projection out over in front of this flubber. So I could cut all of this back. I could have cut all of that nail back to there, and you would have seen that that's just a big rubber bumper underneath. These nails looked reasonable to me at the time. I did not realize I had a problem. And this is just all a huge buildup of dead skin and a collar around. And the reason it doesn't show as a collar is because all of this dead cell material, this white opaque material that's jammed up underneath my skin, they can't get out because these nails are glued down to the cuticle and they're immobilized, they're not moving. None of this junk is getting out. I've actually seen pictures on the internet of a nail like this that was arched up in the air, and all of this white opaque coagulated material was coming out underneath it. It was just being shoved out like it was a Play-Doh machine, and the junk was coming out underneath the nail. It had forced the separation in the stack of the nails, the buildup. The pressure was so tremendous that it was pushing this dead cell material out between the layers of the nails, and it pushed the nail up in an arc. It's really incredible. But this is entirely bogus, all of this. You see this now, that you see that this is a huge huge buildup of impaction here. See if you can see that. You can kind of see that it's starting to shrink a little bit, but I still have a huge amount of dead skin. Remember, this is 60 years on my hands. We're talking about almost 70 years, 69 years. I started building. I know I was biting my fingernails when I was 5, so you're looking at 69 years of accumulated dead cuticle skin, just stacked up layer after layer after layer. That's my thumb, probably that one, right? Where am I? See? That's my real nail, okay? That's the honest to God truth. And that is a lie, okay? You gotta see what you really got for what it really is. The sun is starting to interfere here. See, I could be forgiven for thinking that was a real nail. You see how but there's a tremendous buildup on the sides of my fingers, which you know now because you've seen it. But you see, it's all covered over. The bumper in front and the skin on the buildup on the side, it's all covered by that nail, which is way too big, and it's stretching out the cuticle at the back where it comes out. And it's just the topmost fake nail on top of a ascending stack of cover nails that have been made one after another to cover the damage underneath. And it did a good job, didn't it? Oh, and that's the shot off my laptop. I mean, off my desktop. That's that little fingernail right there, right back then, and that's that nail, and that's the way they looked when they were way too big, and they were covering all that flubber in front. And you can see there that the skin on my nail bed behind the nail is dead and scaling off. It's huge builds-up. There's layers and layers and layers of dead skin. But because they're in contact with tissue that is fairly viscous or has some moisture to it, only the top layer will powder up like that. It's all completely bogus. And underneath there is a perfectly round, huge mound of dead cuticle skin that's encroaching from every direction equally on the nail bed. And people don't see it. People don't know what it is. I don't know that a lot of this requires a lot more commentary. November 28th, 2022. I just started to figure out that I had been picking probably dead cuticle skin off for a year before that. I forget exactly. I think we may be in our 3rd year. It was right around Thanksgiving, though. when I first started, because I was going to have a dental appointment, and they canceled it. And I said, oh, well, it's going to be another month before I can get back in there, and I can go ahead and start picking on my fingers, and they'll have time to not be all cut up looking by the time I have to go into the dentist again, because I was fairly self-conscious about the way I was having to pick this dead skin off, and the way it was making my cuticles look. November 28th, 2022. Okay. Well, that'll probably see. My thumb. Right? That thumb. See, I didn't make this. I didn't, this is not fake. You know what I mean? This is what was always under there. When I was convincing, this is the fake nail. Those are all fake fingernails. They're covering just big rubber flubber bumpers. Smeagol fingers. If I took and surgically removed all those fingernails, which looked fairly good, but look how swollen the fingers are behind them. They're pushing out the cuticle. So what I really have under there are Smeagol fingers, little tiny chips of nail or nail bed that has a perfectly round circular cuticle around it. It's drawing down tighter and tighter and tighter, eviscerating the nail bed, preventing all of that material that's stacked up behind the collar there, behind the fingernails, keeping all that dead cell material from getting out the way it's supposed to. And it's been keeping it from getting out for 70 years. So no telling how long it's going to take for all of that junk that's jacked up in my hands and in my arms or wherever to evacuate. But it's all waste. It's all been accumulating in my body. It can't be good, even if it's not toxic in itself. The accumulation of it has serious detrimental effects on your health. I'm convinced of it. And I see these guys on the bus that have their legs that are swollen up, they're purple, there's cracks in their skin, there are obviously huge layers of dead skin on their legs, like that guy you saw his feet. Look at that. This is just incredible to me. That huge honking overnail, and it looked normal. And look at that huge collar build up behind it. All of this is wrong. That's just scrum. That's rubbery scrum, that brownish stuff. That's not my nails. But it's the same deal. Those aren't my nails, but it's the same deal. That's like the guy at the bus stop. That's not him, though. That's that dead cuticle skin. You see that line of dead skin? It's perfectly uniform. That means he's not pushing at it or doing anything with it. It's completely detached from the nail bed. There's no contact there. If you took those nails out, there would be almost no center of the circle at all. The skin would be pulled down tight in a tight little circle underneath there. It's the nail that's managing to force its way out, that's forcing the cuticle out like that, that's giving that a shape that is not round. If you took the nail out, the cuticle would be perfectly round, and it would be perfectly tiny, smaller than a dime. like that. And you see it's just sitting in a well, in a rubber cup. And under there somewhere is the actual nail bed. And the sides of the nail bed are parallel, and it goes back on the right, way back up under the skin, and it comes out in front of what's left of that trashy nail material. Probably half of the flubber on the front is just rolled up and over the front of the nail bed. These are my own fingers. So we're making real progress, believe it or not. It's older. It's when they were wider and better looking, believe it or not. I could have kept those nails, and all of that junk would have stayed under there. And a lot of you are doing that. That's what you've got. See, but all of that is shedding off. I'm getting rid of all that stuff. When this first broke up, and this was the first top cover nail that broke up like that, all of this stuff up here was some tremendous pressure, and it almost just fell out. You know, it started to come out on top of the nail as the nail was forming and riding out. The new nail, the nail was misshapen because it had impressions in it of all of this junk that was up there that was stuck, and it just rode, and all of this loose garbage under here rode out on the nail as the new nail tried to form and move out. And then it immediately, because it couldn't form up into nail, it immediately washed off, eroded off, scrubbed off, and left a very irregular looking nail. But at least it was new nail. It wasn't the completely disintegrated stuff like that it was at the very beginning, like that. They're even worse things. Gosh, I feel so sorry for these people. They actually call that an ingrown toenail. It's overgrown cuticle is what it really is. See how not nice those nails looked? Could you forgive me for thinking I had nails? See, I had quit biting my fingernails, and they had grown out and they looked like that, and I thought I had fingernails. He thinks he's got fingernails. That's the guy at the bus stop. You see how that white crescent in front is irregularly shaped, and it goes too far back, and it's not actually in contact with the nail bed. That's the guy on the bus who's doesn't actually have a nail, and if you took it out, it would just be a dimple in the middle of a perfectly round mass of skin. Same with him. And that poor guy. That's hey, come here. Clyde! Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to call it off. My dogs have decided to, oh God. Oh, yuck. Unbelievable. I'm gonna have to go see about my dogs. Talk to you later.